Hey, what's up, good people? On Friday, I sent out a message to a bunch of people, and I asked, what's your biggest challenge? I was overwhelmed by how many responses I got. I couldn't even come close to responding to all of them. So I have to figure out a way to help you guys with that. But one of the biggest pieces of feedback I got was that biggest challenges was money. A lot of people talked about money and finances. So I'm going to make this video to talk to you about how to have more money and have better finances. There's two big things that I want to mention. Number one is money management. I'm going to get more into that in a second. And number two is knowing how you actually earn money. And it is not what you think. It's probably not even close to what you think. I'm going to definitely shed a different light on that. But number one, how to manage money, right? It's an interesting thing. If I ask everybody in a room, I say, who wants to be financially free? Everyone's going to raise their hand, right? Would you raise your hand if I asked you that? Would you like to be financially free? Yeah, you would. Now, one of the funny things is very few people are. 1% or less of people actually become financially free. And what is financial freedom? It's when your income, passive income, meets or exceeds your current cost of lifestyle. Did you hear that? When your passive income, if you don't know what that is, I'll tell you in a second, passive income meets or exceeds your current cost of lifestyle. So passive income are things like, say you wrote a book and it just keeps giving you royalties. That's just passive income. You did work once and it just keeps paying you. Maybe you own a house or a duplex or an apartment building and it just pays you money every single month that you don't really have to do much. Those are some examples. There are many, 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 many more. So that's passive income. Your cost of lifestyle, it's the cost of your current life or whatever life you want to have. Your bills, your groceries, your house, your internet, your phone, your car, everything, all that stuff. When your passive income meets or exceeds that expense, that's when you're financially free. Okay? Now, money management, the way we manage our money, another very interesting thing I've observed is that wealthy people and poor people and middle class people all manage their money very differently. Very differently. Guess which group you would like to emulate, would like to imitate in terms of how they manage their money? The wealthy. That's who you'd want to manage. Or that's who you'd want to imitate, how they manage their money. Would you like to know how they manage their money? Yes, Dr. Matt, yes, I would. So, their biggest priority is not on their bills. Middle class and poor people, their biggest priority is typically on their bills. And your brain might be turning right now like, well, yeah, I gotta pay those things. Wealthy people, they focus on paying themselves first. Now, you may have heard that before, but let me elaborate on what that actually means. It means that all the money you earn, you take a percentage and it goes to you. Well, what do you mean, Matt? It goes to me, like in my pocket and it just sits there? What it goes towards is savings and investment. Okay? Savings and investment. That is how you pay yourself. Using a percentage of your money to save and invest in things that pay you back. They focus on turning their money into more money. They focus on using their money, investing it, so that it grows, so that it comes back to them. And I don't mean like a 401k or something like that, because that's extremely slow. No. They have their money constantly working for them. That's what we mean by paying yourself first. I'm taking a percentage of this money to invest in financial freedom, in things that pay me back higher returns, that get my money working for me. That is what is meant by paying yourself. Does that make sense? At least somewhat, right? Example, I save money, say I save up say you earn $1,000 a week, and you take 10% of that into savings every week, off the top. And that may make you uncomfortable because you're like, well, I got these bills to pay and I got this and, what about all of that and expenses and I got this to do. See, that's what stops you from doing it. And that's what's always stopped you from doing it. Imagine if you had saved $100 a week for a decade. You'd have a lot of money. And imagine if you had invested that in things that paid you back more and more money. You'd be financially free by now. That thought of focusing on your bills and being so scared, that's what holds you back. That's why you're not financially free. Seriously. Are you with me? Wealthy people focus on putting their money into things. It's their top priority, more than paying bills, much more. It's their number one priority. They put their money in things that pay them back more money. That's how you become financially free. Those passive income vehicles. Now, back to the example. Say you make $1,000 a week, you save 10%. And let me say this. When you invest in you, when you invest in your future, this universe, this quantum field, God, it supports you. Things show up that you couldn't have anticipated to support you in your decision, in your belief, in who you're becoming. All of a sudden, maybe you'll get a raise out of nowhere. Maybe you'll get some big check in the mail that is from some class action settlement you didn't even know you were part of. I mean, those are the kinds of things that will happen. So that's that level of faith you got to have. So you take $100 and you don't touch it. You don't touch it. You do not touch it. You do not spend it. You do not even flirt with the idea of spending it on a bill. No, that is shooting yourself in the foot. That's probably what you've done before. You've saved money and then you ended up dipping into it to pay bills or something else. You do not. It's intention. Again, God, universe, quantum field, universe, it responds. And if you're not serious about this, it's not going to support you. It's only going to support you to the level you support you in your decision, okay? So you save $100 a week, and say you save up, it's been 10 weeks, you save up $1,000. By the way, along the way, you got a raise. So your money for your expenses is the same anyways because the universe took care of you. Something like that's going to happen. Something like that will happen. It will. Now, you've saved up $1,000 and you're like, oh, look, you follow stocks or something. You go, oh, you know what? Facebook stock is down 20%. Oh, wow. Okay. Well, you know what? I'm going to buy a few shares of Facebook. You buy that and you just put it there and let it grow. And you save up some more money and it's another 10 weeks down the road. You got another $1,000 and, oh, hey, look, Facebook stock has gone up 20%. So my $1,000 just turned into $1,200. That's pretty awesome. And then this opportunity comes to you that says, hey, you know what? Your friend walks up and says, I have this great opportunity that I have this little business that I'm making about $1,000 a week and I just need some investment capital. I just need $2,000 to invest to get more product and grow it. If you would invest with me, I'll give you a percentage of the returns and I'll do all the work. And you're like, wow, well, that's funny. Wow, universe, I just happen to have $2,000 that I've saved up. And this sounds like a good opportunity to invest. Seems solid. So here you go. And then, 10 more weeks down the road, you saved up another $1,000. Your friends come back to you and says, hey, here's your return on the money, and hand you like $5,000. And that's just going to keep coming because you had the money to invest. You had saved, you had intended, you had put your savings investment, your financial freedom, paying yourself first, and the universe has responded. What are we, half a year down the road here? And all of a sudden you've got $5,000 a month coming back to you? This is a scenario like, Matt, but that's not exactly how it's going to work. You've never done this before, I guarantee it. If you have money problems and finance problems, you've never done this like I've said, like I'm talking about here, okay? I know because I've been there. I have absolutely been there. But I've seen how this unfolds when I actually committed to it. Didn't dip into it to go buy this or do that or take on a loan. No. Saved the money and committed to it, and the universe responded and filled my gap of the money I needed for my expenses. And you know what I did? I saved even more money. I was like, oh, 10%. Okay, well, now I'm making a little bit more money, so I'm going to save $120 a week. And all of a sudden, you get excited about saving and investing money. That's what wealthy people do. That's how they think. They're excited to save and invest money. Hope that makes sense. So manage your money. Pay yourself first. Pay yourself first. Pay yourself first. Save and invest. Now, the other thing I was going to talk about was how you actually earn money. Okay? Now, you probably have a job or maybe a self-employed business, and you're basically swapping your time for money. You're helping people one-on-one, or you're doing this, and your income is directly proportionate to the amount of time and effort and service you put in. Your income is directly proportionate to the amount of service you provide. Now, here's something very important to realize. You don't have to perform the service yourself. You don't. You don't. But that's what poor middle-class people think, is that, well, I got to have a job, or I got to have this self-employed business, and I got to do this and do that, and that's the amount of money you get. And you really put a cap on the amount of service you can provide, which puts a cap on the amount of income you can earn. So what wealthy people do is they leverage their time. They hire people. They make partnerships. They make things that can sell on their own, automated processes, like, say, with the internet today. You could have a product that you sell on Amazon, right? You do the research, you find a product, get it manufactured, you put it on there, you put in some time and effort, but now you've leveraged your time, and it's constantly on Amazon. And you know what they do? When people just buy your product right off of there, and they ship it. Amazon takes care of all of it, ships it, takes the money, pays you out, and you don't really have to do much after that. That's one example. There are literally, millions of different ways to do this. It's just a matter of how creative can you get with leveraging your time. Because if you relied on having to find people in your local community to buy your product, then you're pretty limited, because you're limited to your local community. You're limited to your ability, your personal ability to go out and find people and drum up new people at a time. Whereas if you just put it on Amazon, all of a sudden you've got the whole country looking at your product, and it's already up there, and they ship everything, and they take the money, and they do all this and that, and you just get paid. That's one example. If you hire people, maybe you have a landscaping business or a lawn care business, and you're doing it all yourself. And you probably have, this is something I come across all the time. Like, I'll run into, say, a landscaper, and they have more business coming at them and requests for work than they can handle, and they're just terrified, and they're like, I wish I could handle more. And I'm like, you need to step out of this completely and hire people to take on all these jobs, and you just manage them. Or even hire a manager, even go above that, so that you can work on growing the business, right? Because if one person can only do so much yard care in a day, right? So they're limited by how much they can earn because of how much they can serve, how much they can do. But if they hire people, all of a sudden they can do twice as much, themselves and that person. They hire 2 people, all of a sudden they can do 3 times as much. 4 people, they can do 5 times as much. And all of a sudden they hire 5 people, and they remove themselves completely to manage those people and work on other parts of the business. They've got a much bigger business. They pay those people a percentage of it, and they just take the profits from all the other ones, and then they just grow their business like that. They leverage their time, because your income is directly proportionate to the amount of service you render, but you don't personally have to render that service. You just got to organize it. I hope that makes sense. Manage your money, pay yourself first, save and invest in your financial freedom. Not a 401k, find investments that pay you back. Don't go straight in hardcore into things. You got to kind of earn the right to risk. Number 2, your income is directly proportionate to the amount of service you render. Figure out how you can leverage your time to earn more, to provide more service. And by the way, when you hire people and stuff like that, you're providing service to them too. It's quite a spiritual thing to do it, because now you've employed people. Now you're supporting more people. And that may scare you, but don't overdo it. Grow as you grow. The amount of service you render is directly proportionate to the amount of income you earn. Okay? And if you have an apartment complex, you're providing service. You're providing a place for people to live. And you're probably providing a job or two for like an apartment manager. There's all kinds of service to render, okay? Pay yourself first. Figure out how you can render more service and leverage your time. You're awesome.